Whole bunch of ratchetivity. You got white girl wasted, was dancing on tables, sufficiently off beat, I might add. Then you flirted with every damn body, and ended your festivities gyrating on the Lopez soldier's lap. That's the one you left with. This is Bedtime Stories, Grown-Up Edition, Dreams and Nightmares, Part 2. When we left off, the morning had gotten off to a very interesting start. Saint had asked Natalia to leave Miami, and then had to ask her to stay for at least a few more days, after he got a call from the Queen Mother telling him that he better get Catherine the hell out of Texas before she put her in the dirt. He and Natalia were not the only ones who didn't make the Queen Mother and Idra's engagement party at Bellamy's in Puerto Rico. Rennie and Stax had missed it too, because they'd been arrested. Well, not arrested, detained. Rennie had gotten out in the middle of the night, and early the next morning, she had to tell the Queen Mother all about it. And before the Queen Mother's day had even gotten started good, she'd already put several people in their place. Rennie, Q, and his supervisor at the FBI, Fred Acevedo. Her next stop was a meeting with Maribel. She still was not welcomed in their home after she'd put hands and feet on Maribel. But they were working on their relationship. And this time, Maribel was summoning her. Idra said, "Now, Bella girl, you know if she's asking to speak to you, it's got to be something serious. I need you to remain calm. Hear the woman out. Choose empathy over judgment. And if it has anything to do with Donovan, please remain neutral." The Queen Mother said, "I'm going to do the best that I can, but I ain't making no promises. I'm still coming down off this mess with Rennie, and I think I might have used up all my empathy by not killing Catherine." Idra said, "And I'm proud of you. How it's possible for that girl to be so much like you and you didn't birth her, I don't know. But she is certainly a younger version of you." The Queen Mother said, "Who? Rennie?" Idra said, "Yes. I think I heard Stax call her a crash out. Whatever that is, that's what you are. You gonna mess around and throw your back out. You think I don't know that you couldn't help me with that situation?" He was referring to the disposal of Ron and Kane. "Because you were in pain after running across that table and kicking Catherine in the face, jumping down, beating her down, and then within hours, running across that lawn and drop-kicking that big behind man in the chest." Idra started laughing, and the Queen Mother said, "I don't know what you're talking about." Idra said, "You were soaking in Epsom salt and tried to tell me you had a headache when I wanted to get frisky." The Queen Mother said, "I did have a headache. My back and my hip was hurting too, but you better not tell nobody." And then they both dissolved into laughter. Then Maribel knocked on the door of the villa where the Queen Mother and Idra were staying at the Lopez estate. Idra said, "I'll go and start packing our things and give you two some privacy." Meanwhile, at the family complex in Denton, Anya was tickled. She could not believe that her ex-husband's sister had the unmitigated gall to call and ask her to bury his cheating, lying, gay behind. She didn't care how it looked, what anybody thought, or how Celeste felt. She was not going to spend a dime to bury that fool. And she could not wait to tell the Queen Mother all about the call. When she texted her, the Queen Mother said that she'd be by later that evening. And Anya figured since she was already wide awake, she might as well get up, shower, get some food and coffee in her belly, and go and get her children. They'd stayed the night at LJ's with Mom Joyce, while she'd gone to her mother and Idra's engagement party. A party that she could barely remember, because she'd gotten drunk as a skunk. She didn't know how she had even gotten home, and she was pissed that she hadn't got her rocks off. But the call with Celeste had made her feel a whole lot better, because she felt like she'd gotten her final lick back at Ron. She didn't care what arrangements his family managed to make, because she wasn't going to be there, neither would her children. They were too young to even understand a funeral. She was not going to be able to pretend to be grieving. She got out of her bed, threw on a robe, and opened the blinds to let some sunlight in. And then she saw a whole group of men gathered in the courtyard on the side of her house. At the center of that group of men was Easy, and he appeared to be in the middle of a very intense conversation. She hadn't seen him since that little situation at Bellamy's, and he'd left with Big Wood and two other men. She was sure that whatever Easy was talking to the group of soldiers about wasn't any of her business, but she decided she wanted to test the capabilities of that app on her phone. So she grabbed it, saw that her battery was at like 10%, grabbed the charger, plugged it under the window, and tried her best to quietly open the window. But since she was deaf, she had no way to know how much noise opening that window made. She already had the voice capture feature in that app going, before she opened the window. So she had her eyes trained on the soldiers. And when Easy didn't turn around to look, she figured she hadn't made a sound. But she saw one of the soldiers standing in front of him look at her. He didn't say anything, so she assumed she was safe. She looked down at the app, and it was picking up the conversation. Anya thought to herself, dang, this thing is good. She followed the transcription and caught what she believed was the middle of Easy's lecture. He said, these are the things that can't happen, that the new head in training of the St. James organization is trying to prevent. It's proof that the anti-fraternization policy is necessary. Because Derek's baby mom showed up at this property, showing out and looking for blood. Now he and Toya have to be transferred, and his whole family is going to have to be relocated. What exactly do you all think is going to happen if his baby moms ain't willing? Or if they break up because of all of this? When the soldiers didn't respond and several of them just shook their heads, Easy knew that they knew that the families would get rid of anybody, especially a woman who'd been scorned, showed up at a family property that she shouldn't have known the location of, showed out and had the potential to be an ongoing problem, especially if the man who'd caused the problem didn't see the error of his ways and course correct. Anya didn't know what the hell Derek and Toya had done, but she knew that they were awfully friendly. She also knew that Derek had children, and she couldn't wait for Easy to come inside and tell her what was going on. Then she heard something that she wasn't expecting. Easy said, "This is the last lecture that you all are gonna hear from me. At least I hope that it is. Either way, this is the last time that many of you will see me, at least for a while. If you haven't already heard, I've accepted a promotion. I will still be over the ASL training program, but I'll be managing it from a new base of operations." One of the soldiers said, "Congratulations, right hand in training." Easy said, "Thank you." Another soldier asked when he was leaving, and Easy said he was leaving that night. Then he cautioned them that everything that they'd seen or heard that day, including the discussion he'd had with them, was confidential, and if he heard that any of them were gossiping about it, he would make sure that they were reassigned and disciplined too, because that was one of the things that was no longer going to be tolerated by the new head in training. When they asked the name of this individual, Easy said, "Israel St. James." All of the men looked confused as hell because they had no idea who that person was. And Easy didn't elaborate. He said, "Meeting adjourned. I'll be around to have the same conversation with your relief, and then I'm out." All of the men and women dispersed, and Easy turned around and made eye contact with Anya. Anya waved, Easy waved back. When he walked away, she closed the window. She waited several minutes, and Easy didn't come inside, so she went ahead and hit the shower. When she was dressed for the day, she headed outside, and Easy was nowhere to be found. So she headed to LJ's to pick up her children. When she got there, LJ was pissed. Anya signed, "What's wrong with you?" LJ signed, "I hope you got what you was looking for last night. So you know, you are no longer welcome in Bellamy's." Anya signed, "Why? I thought it was a party. I thought we were celebrating." LJ said, "We were, but clearly you was celebrating something else." Anya signed, "Was it that bad? And do everybody know?" LJ said, "Yes, it was that bad, and no, everybody doesn't know. You need to be glad that me, Q, and Wood were gone before you left with that Lopez soldier." Anya signed, "I left with who?" LJ said, "You don't remember? You left with a Lopez soldier." Anya signed, "I don't remember anything. I don't even know how I got home. Was that your doing or Q's?" LJ said, "I don't know how you got home either, because I left Bellamy's after that mess with Bosch and that St. James soldier and came straight home." Anya signed, "Is that why Easy left too?" LJ said, "I don't know. Ask Easy." Anya signed, "Well, what all did they say I did?" LJ said, "A whole bunch of ratchetivity." And Anya guffawed. Then LJ said, "You got white girl wasted, was dancing on tables, sufficiently off beat, I might add. Then you flirted with every damn body and ended your festivities gyrating on the Lopez soldier's lap. That's the one you left with. You somebody's damn mother, Anya. Two somebodies. And them niggas know that you off limits. So not only did you make a fool out of your damn self, but whatever you did with that nigga when y'all left better have been worth it, because you put that nigga's life on the line." Anya signed, "Off limits? What you mean I'm off limits?" LJ said, "Manny put the word out that anybody in his rank and file, or in any organization's rank and file, needs to see him if they're interested in you. And I'm sure that that soldier didn't get permission to take you home with him last night." And Anya went white as a sheet. LJ said, "You might want to call your Uncle Manny, apologize for showing out, and see if it's too late to save that nigga." Anya collected her children, took them home, and called her Uncle Manny. Minnie said, Mija, I'm gonna assume that grief had you out of pocket last night. And that's why you left my establishment with a soldier who isn't worth his weight in salt. I think we both know that he's beneath you. And so is that behavior. Anya signed on the FaceTime, yes, sir. I was a little upset. I don't quite remember everything, but I'm pretty sure that soldier was on his best behavior and nothing happened. Minnie signed, I know that nothing happened. And he's gonna make sure that everybody else knows that nothing happened. And Anya breathed a sigh of relief, because all she wanted to do was get it in. She didn't want to get anybody done in. Minnie said, but that can't happen again. Now, I'm trying to keep it from your mother, but I'm sure that if she finds out, she's gonna expect for me to ban you from Bellamy's. Anya didn't even protest. She signed, I promise, it won't happen again. Then Manny told Anya that if she was interested in anybody within any of the organizations, they would have to have a conversation with him and her soon-to-be stepfather, Idra. And they for damn sure couldn't be a soldier or a lieutenant. She was the daughter of the queenpin, and she would soon be the stepdaughter of a kingpin. If nothing else, that made her Five Family royalty. As far as he was concerned, even a general wasn't good enough. Anya spent the day with her children, and when she put them down for a nap, she realized she hadn't seen Easy since he'd left earlier that day. But she had bigger fish to fry. She called True, because she needed a recap of what she'd done at Bellamy's. True said, girl, you showed your whole and entire behind, and I was there for it all. Staff and I were sufficiently entertained. It was too bad that Rennie didn't make it. Then she told Anya all about her dancing on the table, flirting with any and everybody, and leaving with the Lopez soldier. Anya signed, girl, I don't remember none of that. Not to mention, I'm pretty sure that nothing happened between me and that soldier. Either that or he got a micro penis. But there are absolutely no signs anywhere on my body that anything went down. I did find that I had a Band-Aid on my arm when I got in the shower. I don't know what that was about. True said, you need to ask Easy about that. Anya said, Easy? True said, girl, yeah. All that Lopez soldier did was take you to the Lopez estate, where Manny had a conversation with him. And Easy took you to the Lopez airstrip and took your behind home. If I had to guess, he probably had a doctor check you out. And the doctor probably hung a banana bag. Anya signed, what's a banana bag? True explained that doctors use a special IV solution to rehydrate and get vital nutrients. And individuals who consumed way too much alcohol were dehydrated and basically needed their systems flushed to prevent them from dying from alcohol poisoning. And Anya was sufficiently embarrassed. Then she asked True if she knew anything about Easy's promotion. And True told her that Easy had been promoted to right hand in training. But as far as she knew, his training for that position wasn't going to start for several weeks. And then Anya told True what she'd overheard. And True said, that man is probably trying to get away from you. Anya asked, why would he need to do that? True signed, girl, bye. I need to get off this phone. Genesis just woke up from his nap. When the conversation ended, Anya was sufficiently confused. Several hours later, Anya had fed her children dinner, given them baths, and read them bedtime stories. And just as she got them down to sleep, the lights started flashing. She checked her phone, and Easy was at her front door. She let him in, and he signed, I just wanted to check in on you before I headed out for the day. Anya signed, oh, really? You must have had a very busy day, because this is the first time that I'm seeing you. Easy signed, no, it's not. You saw me in the courtyard having a meeting with the soldiers. Anya signed, oh, yeah, that's right. What exactly was that all about? Easy signed, it was about some drama with one of the soldiers, or two of the soldiers, and one of those soldiers' baby's mother. She showed up here hot as fish grease, because somehow she found out that he'd been cheating with one of his co-workers. She actually thought that the guard at the gate was gonna let her in. Anya signed asking, and what happened? Easy signed, he called me and I was able to calm things down. But both of the soldiers are being reassigned. And I spent most of my afternoon meeting with groups of soldiers, letting them know about the new anti-fraternization policy, meeting with the two soldiers involved, and meeting with that man and his baby's mother. Anya signed, I didn't know relationship counselor was in your job description. And Easy signed, we had to discuss plans to have him and his whole family relocated. That's a part of my job that I hope not to have to do going forward. Hopefully all the soldiers will get on board and stop getting romantically involved with one another, especially when they already got somebody. A scorned woman is a dangerous one. And his baby's mother was ready to rain down hell on him his secret lover, and any and everybody else who knew about it and didn't make it stop. Then he told her all about how the woman had tracked Derek to work, showed up armed, and had refused to relocate herself and her children unless Derek promised to cut out all of his philandering and marry her. Anya signed that somebody should have told her marriage would not make the leopard change its spots. Easy signed, let's hope that Derek is a different kind of leopard. Anya asked, and if he's not? Easy signed, then his baby's mother might become a memory. Anya signed, that's a little extreme, don't you think? Easy signed, we can't have scorned women running around, knowing where most of the members of the Baptiste, St. James, and Lopez families live. That information could get in the wrong hands, and we could have another war on our hands. Anya signed, understood, I guess. Then she asked, so what else has been going on? Easy signed, you tell me. I heard all about all the fun you had at Bellamy's. Anya signed, as I understand, you know more than what you heard. Let me find out you was jealous. Easy signed, nah, that's not a spirit that I allow to get in me. And Anya was a little confused. She signed, a spirit? Easy signed, jealousy is an evil spirit, and so is envy. I know some people think it's cute to be jealous or to make somebody jealous, but making somebody jealous is witchcraft. It's manipulation. And being jealous is the result of feeling like you have ownership over another person and someone else has access in a way that they shouldn't to what you believe belongs to you. If a woman is with me and she's intentionally trying to make me jealous, I don't get jealous. I get out the way. And in a case like this, I just mind my business. Anya signed, then how exactly did I get home last night untouched? Easy signed, I was doing my job. And the soldier assigned to keep an eye on you at Bellamy's was doing his. That nigga you left with is lucky to be alive. But not 'cause of me. Your uncle laid the law down. If you know like I know, you won't put anybody else's life on the line trying to get your rocks off. Anya signed, I heard. And I have been sufficiently reprimanded, believe me. Now, what's this that I've heard about some anti-fraternization policy? Is that just for the employees? Easy signed, that goes for the employees amongst themselves and with the family. Anya signed, oh, I see. Well, I had an interesting conversation with Manny, and he didn't say anything about family members not being able to get involved with employees. He actually told me that as long as whomever I have my eye on is high enough in the ranks, all I need to do is have a conversation with him and Idra. Easy said, oh, really? Well, I guess you should set your sights on somebody higher in the ranks. Anya signed, a little birdie told me that you got a promotion. And Easy signed, I did. Anya signed, so does that mean that you're high enough in the ranks for me to set my sights on? Easy signed, this ain't what you want. Anya signed, why not? Let me find out you're scared of little old me. Easy signed, nah, but you should definitely be scared of me. Anya signed, and why is that? Easy said, 'cause I'll ruin your life in all the best ways. Let me get out of here before you get something started. Anya signed, I'm trying to get something started. Since my uncle ruined my good time last night, how about you help me make up for it? Easy signed, wow, that's real bold. You clearly don't know a warning when you hear one. Anya signed, show me what you got. Easy signed, are we here alone? He already knew the answer, because he'd seen when Anya had brought her children home. He also knew that Anya knew the answers to most of the questions that she'd asked him, and he wasn't going to give her the satisfaction of telling her what she'd already known by eavesdropping. He wasn't going to fill in the blanks either, and he definitely wasn't going to be her boy toy. Anya signed, no, we're not here alone, but what difference does it make? Easy got real close to Anya, but far enough away that she could still see his hand signals while he signed. If I give you what you asking for, your son won't stay asleep for long. Anya took in a quick breath and signed back, he will if you remain quiet. Easy chuckled and signed, I'm not the one who'll be loud. Confused, Anya signed, I don't speak. Easy signed back, that's 'cause you haven't learned how. But that doesn't mean you can't. Just because you don't intentionally use your voice, that does not mean you're silent. When Anya looked at him confused, Easy signed, no one's ever told you that you unconsciously hum to music when you can feel the beat in your feet. When Anya signed no, Easy signed, then you gotta know that you're probably not a silent lover either. Completely caught off guard, Anya was scrambling for purchase. She decided that she would ask Easy another question and see if he would deflect his answer like he'd been doing all evening. She asked him if he'd ever been with a woman who was deaf, and as she expected, he deflected. He signed that her laugh was beautiful, and she snored when she got drunk. Then he said, "I'm gonna have to take a rain check. I need to get out of here." When he left, Anya wondered if she made noise during sex. It was too bad Ron was no longer alive, so she couldn't ask him. He'd never mentioned it, and she had never considered it. And since she'd never been with another man of her own free will, there wasn't any other man for her to ask. She did remember, however, that the detectives who handled the case when she'd been assaulted by King had said that one of the reasons why they were concerned about being able to make the case stick against him was because she hadn't made a sound in protest. They'd said that her voice worked, even though she didn't intentionally use it. And even if she couldn't say no or stop, she could have said something, and she hadn't. That didn't mean that they didn't believe her. It simply meant that that would make the case hard. Anya immediately grabbed her phone and queued up the app that she'd been using to capture voices and translate conversations, an app that she'd procured thanks to Easy. She initiated the voice capture feature and attempted to make sounds. After 30 minutes of the app not translating a single solitary word, she Googled how the hell do deaf people learn to speak, and then she read everything she could find and tried again. She used a technique that she just read about, putting her hand on her own throat and pushing out air until she felt the vibration. Then she imitated a woman who she'd seen in a video, saying yes and no, and cried real tears. And the app showed that the words had been picked up and translated accurately. Once again, Easy had opened her up to a brand new world, and she was so grateful. And then she remembered Hilda and how she'd said that Easy had dumped her because she'd been using him as a crutch. So Anya decided not to ask Easy for any more help, not with learning to speech read, and not with learning to use her voice. The next day, she would find a speech-language pathologist who specialized in teaching both speech reading and used multimodal techniques to teach deaf people to speak. She'd seen some of her favorite deaf actors, like Marlee Matlin and Sean Brady, do interviews where they discussed how they'd learn to speak, how they'd become proficient in it, hone their skills, and become great actors. But it had never even occurred to her that she could speak too. Easy had provided her with multiple ways of self-empowerment, and this was yet another one. She was smiling from ear to ear, and then she frowned. She remembered that he was leaving. That was his last day working at the family complex in Denton, and he hadn't even mentioned it. He refused to be upfront about his past with Hilda and didn't even elaborate on what had occurred the night before. Anya needed to forget about Easy. She needed to boss up without him. And as she went to close the app, she realized something. There were translations on the voice capture from 3:15 a.m. until 3:37 a.m. Then they began again, starting at 3:48 a.m. and ending at 3:53 a.m. And then off and on from 4:07 a.m. until 9:42 a.m. And that was the reason why her phone was on 10% when she got off FaceTime with Celeste. When she read the transcriptions, she was literally and figuratively speechless.
I don't want to be just a memory, and I don't want to feel your wings break free, because without you I'm lost in the breeze. I gotta be strong now, I gotta show you how I love you like I've never ever loved somebody. I'll give you things you didn't even know you wanted. Don't tell me that it's not enough. My time is up, you're over us. 'Cause I think I might do anything for you if you just